Hello, listeners. Jordan here. I just want to let you know that you can listen to Nighttime early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Include it with Prime.
You are listening to Keep Canada Weird, a weekly weird news roundup by the Nighttime Podcast.
Hello, listeners, and welcome back to the weekly Keep Canada Weird discussion series. If you're new here, I'm Jordan, and Keep Canada Weird is a venue in which my pal Aaron Airport and I seek out and explore the more offbeat news stories that played out over the last week. In tonight's episode, which we recorded on January 23rd of 2024, Aaron and I must have been hungry because all of our stories involve food. We're going to hear about one Canadian grocery giant's failed attempt to raise the price of soon-to-expire food. We'll weigh in on that Toronto restaurant that's been serving burgers with a legal waiver. We'll consider the best use of a 55-year-old wedding cake. And then we're going to discuss the double-dipping fraudsters who scammed $15,000 from an Ontario man by offering to assist him to get back the $750,000 he was previously scammed out of. Let's get into it. Handsome Aaron Airport.
Hi.
That was an on-brand intro. That was weird. That felt weird.
Yeah, there was a gap there in your usual introduction.
Let me try it again. Handsome Aaron Airport. You know what time it is. No, wait. That's too 90s.
Yeah, I was just going to say it's game time.
Hammer time.
Hammer time. I think of game time because I think of like a lot of the I think of the sports commercials and things from the 90s.
Yeah.
What time is it? It's game time. I don't know.
Let me just try to do the Keep Canada Weird
Let's try it
classics.
one more time. Yeah.
Handsome Aaron Airport. You look dashing tonight.
Yes. I like this intro.
Nothing gets you talking like your own appearance.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly,
What else do you like about me?
Your glasses. They look really clean. I can see the reflection of your monitor in them.
Oh, yes. And what do you think of my haircut?
Did you get a cut? It looks nice. It looks, I didn't realize it was cut. I was just going to say it looks tidy.
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Oh, in all seriousness though, how are you? Anything you want to unload on us that's been bothering you?
It's cold out today.
Oh, it's so cold, man. I'm miserable. I don't know if it's just that I'm getting old, but I find when I go outside now, like I remember times when I'd be out on the coldest nights and I'd have a hoodie on and people would be like, Jordan, you're nuts. How are you not frozen? I'd be like, I'm fine. Now it can be like -1 and I'm ready to die outside no matter what
me
I'm
too.
wearing.
It's bad. It's getting really bad. Like I can't handle the cold anymore. I could be outside for hours and it would never bother me, but now it's like it just chills me to the bone. I shiver, I shake, I want to cry, frozen tears.
Yeah.
I can't deal.
No, I'm the same, and it has been damn cold here. But we don't have to be outside. We can keep Canada weird from the comfort of our own homes. I'm in my basement. I believe you're on your top floor. I'm surrounded by my own objects, and you probably have a large cat somewhere near you.
Yeah, he's twinkling about my feet.
Okay. Well, we have very little to hold us back from getting the job done here and keeping this country weird by seeking out, exploring, celebrating, rolling our eyes at the weird, unusual, and offbeat things that played out over the last week. And tonight, I don't know why, but we are having a food special, a weird Canadian food special.
Yeah. This should be streaming on the Food Network.
And this was unintentional. This happens all the time. There's something in the stars that just have the stories collide. But I don't know, maybe it's just so many people across the country are talking about food and the price of food and the availability of food that it is just like seeping its way into all aspects of our life, including our news reporting. Let me ask you though, just right off the bat, let's address the elephant in the room. How crazy do you believe the price of food has gotten?
I think it's gotten ridiculous.
Like beyond ridiculous. Like it got ridiculous like 4 or 5 years ago, but now it's completely nuts.
Yeah, I don't know. I buy food in very small quantities now because I can't handle the emotional stress of buying a grocery order. So I just buy a couple of things at a time, and I walk out. No, I only spent $35-$40. I can deal with that. But to buy a full grocery order these days, I'd never do that to myself.
Yeah, it is nuts. And it's just, not only is the cost of everything skyrocketing, the whole like shrinkflation thing is happening. Like items are getting smaller while the price is going up. But one thing I find, and I just want to say this because I don't know if other people have noticed this, but one thing that always seems like the price seems to be consistent and very low is bananas. Like if you like eating bananas, you can really stretch $1 off. Bananas are dirt cheap.
I love bananas.
But do you find they're like painfully cheap? You pay you get a big thing of bananas, it'll be like $2.
Yeah, I haven't noticed the price of bananas. I just usually grab a bunch of them and I don't think about it. Yeah. But I noticed like toothbrushes are so expensive now.
Really?
I used to always get like a toothbrush for like $2 or $3. But now they're all $6 or $7, even the cheap ones.
Yeah, it's wild. The price of food has gotten crazy, and some of the stories that we're going to talk about involve the price of food. Actually, maybe we should just jump right into that. This story won't be a secret to anyone because it was covered from coast to coast. Is Loblaws messing around with their discounted prices? You want to start with that?
Yeah, I do. Let's get right into that one.
Let's just jump right in.
Let's spend the first 30% of our episode on it.
I think we could spend the first 50%.
Oh, we'll see.
Loblaws is the parent company, and people across the country may know them as using their different like brand or trade names or whatever. People on the East Coast would more likely know it as the Superstore, which is the large grocery store that synonymous in Nova Scotia, Atlantic Superstore, which is owned by Loblaws, which is such an awful name. Loblaw.
Loblaw.
It sounds like a joke, but it was the guy who started it. It's the last name. But basically,
it was probably the working title of their business for so long that they eventually just stuck with it.
It does seem like
we got to pick a real name. We've been calling ourselves blah 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 for like forever now. Like, let's pick a real name.
Yeah. Well, when you shop at Loblaws, as you walk through the grocery store, you'll see items that will have a bright colored sticker on it that up until now would say something like "Enjoy today, 50% off." And they would put those stickers on food items that were about to expire. So it'd be kind of like, the bananas are already about they got a couple days left, or it's a tray of whatever, and today is the expiration date. They'll make it 50% off just to move it out of the store. And a lot of people, as the price of food was going up, those items became sought after because it helped keep people's costs down. Well, the Canadian grocery giant made the controversial decision last week to drop the discount from 50% off about to expired food instead to 30% off about to expire food. So it seems that inflation is also hitting deteriorating food. I'm going to play a short news clip that will walk us through how the country reacted to this news, and then we'll talk about this. Here it comes.
A time of soaring grocery costs, it was a significant and appreciated discount. Colorful half-price stickers at Loblaw stores often grab the attention of shoppers who snap them up. But those days seem to be coming to an end. The grocery giant will no longer provide 50% off on products near their expiry dates. CTV News reached out to the company for comment, but got no response by news time. However, in an email to the Agri-Food Lab, Loblaws said we're now moving toward a more predictable and consistent offering, including more consistency with our competitors. That being said, the move will result in more profit for the grocery chain.
If they feel that they don't need to go 50% off on food that's about to expire, that they can sell it for 30% off to match competitions, they're going to make more profit because people will probably buy it.
And shoppers we spoke with aren't buying it.
Shady. The things are going to expire anyway. Like, try to, bring it into the hands of people who actually need the food and rely on that 50% discount.
Yeah, I think in this time when the grocery stores are making record profits, this is one minor way that they can give a little bit extra to the customer for goods that are about to expire.
Shoppers hope Loblaws reconsiders. The changes to discounted items will start next week in Atlantic Canada. The rest of the country will see them starting tomorrow.
Just want to start with the justification that Loblaws seemed to give. A part of it was that they just want to give their consumers a more consistent experience, including consistency with discounts among their competitors.
Yeah, because the customer experience is like, I'm so confused when I go into Atlantic Superstore and it says 50% off, but then I was just at Sobeys and they're 25% off. And I'm so confused and angry about that because it's not consistent.
There is not one person who is demanding or their buying dollars state that they have a preference towards consistent discount models from competitor to competitor. That was the weakest excuse ever. It's clearly, and you could never convince me otherwise, that it is anything except we think people will still buy it if it's 30% off. So we're just going to, raise the price of the about to expire food by 20% across the board. And we think people will still buy it.
Absolutely. They probably did some kind of customer survey campaign where they were like, at what price point would you buy soon to be expired food? Would you buy it at 50%, 40%, 30%? And they're trying to find what the threshold was. And then they determined, our research is showing that people are still going to buy this expired food at 30% as opposed to 50%. It really doesn't matter. So they're still going to buy it at that price, and we should change it to that and just label it as consistency amongst competitors. So
I wonder, why aren't they just honest and just say that? That's clearly what's going on. Why try to sugarcoat it? That's one thing I hate about this world. We live in a capitalist society. They should just tell us,
Just say we're going to make more money by making it 30% than we are at 50%. So that's the reality. This is our company. We're going to do it, go fly a kite.
Yeah. But I guess society didn't, or Canadians didn't necessarily fly a kite. What they did was they complained and they wrote stuff on social media and talked to people, talked to the news. Eventually, it seemed to do the trick. It seemed to scare Loblaws a little bit. It only took about a week and the decision was reversed. Here's how the news broke. Live on air, actually. Listen to this.
Well, as they say on the TV news, this just in, and this should make a number of you quite pleased. There's some good news for shoppers. Loblaws is bowing to public pressure and reversing a decision on discounted items. The grocery retailer, you'll recall, drew public ire this week after it was decided that last day sale items would be marked down to 30% instead of between 30 and 50% as it was. A spokesperson for the company says the change comes after listening to feedback from customers and colleagues. So customers should start noticing the return of those pink 50 off stickers in the coming weeks.
Just want to come out with a prediction. The company that blames their reduction of discounts on consistency between companies or competitors, I think all they're going to do is they're probably thinking, we'll just put the discount back up to 50%, but we're just going to only put the actually just about rotten food on sale now. And we'll sell the rest of it full price. I don't think, we listened to our customers. I don't think any company actually does that. It's just all PR talk. Reading between the lines, they're going to make that money some other way.
And we're talking about peanuts here. We're talking about expired food or just about expired food.
Yeah.
Is nothing sacred? Is nothing sacred here? It's this is food that is going to be thrown in your dumpster in behind that seagulls are going to get for free. This is nonsense that they would nickel and dime over food that they can't sell the next day.
Yeah, you know what? It's as evil as these monsters are. They probably lock the dumpster so people don't go in there and take that stuff. Or if they catch you stealing the food or taking the food out of their dumpster, they'd probably call the police on these people. They would rather rot uneaten in the dumpster than have you not go in the store and buy something. I'm sure of it. It's very often that I get fed up with something. I'm fed up with the price of food and the greed of grocery stores.
Yeah, it's hard to imagine how the executives at Loblaws sleep at night. I'm sure they sleep quite comfortably because they're giant sacks of shit. So I'm sure they lay there and they're everything.
I hope none are listening.
Oh, I'm sure they are not listening at all.
I just
No.
lost 3 subscribers. They were
Yeah,
executives for like
yeah,
the
yeah.
3 the 3 grocery stores that, work on price fixing together. They fixed the prices while listening to Keep Canada Weird. They all just unsubscribed.
They did, yeah, yeah. But they want more consistency in their podcasting, so they unsubscribed to 100% of nighttime podcasts and Keep Canada Weird.
Yeah, they're done. We're done.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm glad that they brought the discount back. I guess I think it just shows I think the value in this story is what it shows people is that if people get upset and go to the news and point their finger at these companies for greed, things will happen. But like I said, they'll probably raise the discount back to 50% off and just, I don't know, raise the price of everything else. And
Either way, they're going to turn record profits. It's not going to overly affect their bottom line. They were hoping to sneak this one under the radar, but it's hard these days to do that. To reduce a discount from 50% to 30% in this particular inflationary climate that we're living in right now, and people are very sensitive to food prices right now.
Yeah.
So, and with the power of social media and how quickly word travels now, it's you can't really sneak those past the paying customer anymore, and it shows how cowardly they are too. Like, there's one thing I find weird about this, where it's like, if you're going to make a really evil decision, I prefer you stick by it than than to just turn around and be like, oh, sorry, we didn't think you noticed the 30% as opposed to the 50%, and we thought it, consistency and whatever. Just please don't hurt us.
Yeah,
don't go to Sobeys, please. Don't go to Sobeys.
For people who aren't from Canada, Sobeys is one of the main competitors. People
Yeah,
are like,
yeah.
I'm sure there's someone in like Bermuda right now listening, like Loblaws, Sobeys, like what are these people on?
What in the heck is a Sobeys? And how do I get one?
So this story largely revolved around expired or about to expire food. We have another story. This one's quite a bit different. It's certainly about expired food. It's about a 55-year-old cake that has both an endearing, heartbreaking, and kind of charming story that surrounds the cake. Let's travel over to Salmon Arm, BC, where we're going to meet Rochelle Marr, who married her husband back in 1968. After the wedding, they froze a layer of their cake with plans to share it on a future anniversary. But that cake had gone completely forgotten until just recently when she cleaned out her freezer. She wasn't sure what that large object at the bottom of the freezer was, but after closer inspection and smelling it, she remembered that cake she squirreled away with her now deceased husband. Not squirreled away with him. She remembered that cake that her and her now deceased husband had squirreled away to enjoy together in the future. I had to rephrase that because I made it sound like she hid the cake with her husband. It's not what happened. Here's the story.
They're both in the freezer.
Here it comes.
Mom, on her wedding day with Brian, Dad, her friend
Gloria, her mother, made this cake, and she made 3-tiered cake.
She kept one of the side pieces before frosting it and building the tower, and told her that she cannot open this cake till their 50th anniversary. And it's been 55 years since. Completely forgot about its existence. Found it doing the defrost, and there it was, this big round cake. And it's a fruit cake, as the old wedding cakes were, I guess. Anyway, Dad's passed away. Yeah, Dad passed away in June, so Mom's found it. She was supposed to open it with him and eat it.
Yeah, 5 years ago. Of course, it got locked in the deep freeze. Well, lost in the deep freeze.
No, I was skeptical at first. I was like, well, is it freezer burn? Is it still going to be good? Mom's taking pictures of it. Or she's put it in a pot with a base, and she's steaming it with water. And she said that I was like, well, are we going to dig into this? And she says, no, she's going to cut it up into pieces and give it to all the kids in the family and whatnot. So I thought that was kind of neat.
It looks good.
And it looks great, and it smells good.
Mm-hmm.
There'll be some cake for all. So there's the 55-year-old fruit cake.
Yay! So sweet, but a little sad. Where do we start with this one?
Well, let's start at the end
Okay.
because it's a fruitcake, right?
Could you imagine a wedding with a fruitcake? Fruitcake is awful.
Yeah, that's the thing about it. Is fruitcake is kind of gross.
Mm.
And she plans on giving it a piece to all the grandkids, but they're not going to want it.
Yeah,
just,
like
it's
this
gross.
is super old fruitcake. No, thank you.
Yeah.
You had to like
eat it in front of me now.
Yeah, I want to watch you enjoy it. She had to, for people who just are listening and don't see the news clip, she had to take the cake, put it in the sink, and like kind of like steam it because it was probably just like just beyond freezer burnt. But I wouldn't have ate it when it was fresh. A wedding cake made of fruitcake. That's awful.
Yeah, like my dad always made fruitcake every year at Christmas time.
Prick.
And none of us wanted any.
No.
Like he would always be like, "Oh, you want some fruitcake?" Like, no, who does? Like,
Mhm.
who wants to eat that in the holidays anymore?
Mm.
Cakes have advanced, so far, since fruitcake was a
Apparently
popular thing.
Yeah. Do people make like with wedding cakes now? Could you have an ice cream wedding cake? Because that's what I like. It would be really cool. Or from Dairy Queen, Treatza Pizza. You could have like Treatza Pizza wedding cakes.
You could, but it would melt so fast, so people would have to eat it pretty quickly.
Well, imagine this: you have a wedding at some venue that has like a walk-in freezer, and you could just serve the ice cream cake in there.
Yeah, I mean that certainly adds some logistical issues to the event, but I'm not saying it can't be done or it shouldn't be done, but if you have the means to do it, then by all means,
Anything
go
but
for it.
fruitcake. I think the star of this story is the manufacturer of her 55-plus-year-old deep freeze. They should have dropped that name. That company would have been proud to be involved in this.
Yeah, I'm sure if the company is still in existence, like
seriously,
every old lady that I know has a deep freezer that's by a company that's not in existence anymore.
Yeah, some like
the deep freezer they've had for 60 years or something. So,
but nowadays nothing lasts. Like if you go today and buy a deep freeze at Costco or Walmart or wherever, Target, wherever you would buy a deep freeze, I don't even know where you get one. I would bet a significant amount of money that thing's not going to be working in 10 or 15 years.
No, absolutely not. No.
55 plus years. Not only is it amazing that the thing's lasted this long, could you imagine how gross that deep freeze is? Is that if something had gotten lost in there 55 years ago? What else is down there?
And it also goes to show how often she cleans it out.
Well, she doesn't.
Yeah, exactly.
This has to be the first time.
Yeah, the first time in decades that she's cleaned out this deep freeze. So I wouldn't be eating anything from that deep freeze.
From that house. What else does she got going on? Can you think of
what's in her regular freezer?
Aside from poisoning her grandkids and the rest of the family with the 55-year-old fruitcake, can you think of anything else good she could have done with it?
With this fruitcake? Paperweight. She could have maybe buried it at her husband's gravesite. But I think it might look a little weird if she's burying it directly in her husband's gravesite.
Well, at night, you drive
by she shows up at 3 a.m.
with a shovel,
with a dirty shovel. I'm just giving him some fruitcake, dear. I'm not taking his body.
Put your hands up, ma'am. She gets
Listen,
tased.
officer. Yeah, I'm just giving him a piece of fruitcake, if you don't mind.
All right. Let's you mentioned police officers. We have a food story that involves police officers and a significant crime that for some reason the mainstream media is ignoring, but we're not going to ignore it despite being mainstream media. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
I'm talking about I'm talking about the disturbing trend of high value nuts being stolen.
Okay.
This story comes from a listener named Kevin who got us tipped to this. So Kevin is one of our Keep Canada Weird correspondents, and he let us know about a case coming out of Ontario involving a truckload of stolen pistachios, which are delicious.
Regional police are on the case of a stolen stash of pistachios. Investigators say a transport truck loaded with about $70,000 worth of pistachios was stolen from Baden Saturday night around 9:30. They say the truck and trailer were taken from a business in the Foundry Street and Gingrich Road area. This is the second case of stolen nuts. Local police are investigating in recent months. They say a transport truck hauling walnuts was stolen from a Cambridge business in the Hespeler Road area in early November.
So let me ask you, Aaron, with that read, do you think it is a coincidence that 2 truckloads of nuts were stolen from this part of the province in a period of 2.5 months?
Probably not a coincidence. I mean, pistachios they're expensive, they're delicious.
Addictive as hell. You know, people will break into
God.
drugstores for painkillers and, you know, Oxycontin and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm pretty close some days to kicking in a window to get my hands on some pistachios.
Well, I
Let alone
remember the very
cashews.
first time I had pistachios was, remember when we were living on Oxford Street?
What happened? You just got in a bathtub full of them together and just...
No.
Oh, okay.
Our roommate, Sam, had a big bag of expensive pistachios on the counter.
Oh.
And we were having some beers or whatever, and it was like you and me and a couple of friends, and Sam was there. He's like, "Oh, I got these pistachios. Do you want some?" And I was like, "Oh, I never had them before." He's like, "Oh, they're good. They're expensive. Whatever. Try one." And I tried them. I'm like, "Oh, yeah, geez, they're delicious." So then he went to his room or whatever to do whatever he did in there, and I think I ate pretty much the entire bag of his expensive pistachios that night. He regretted letting me try them.
Yeah, well, think about the price of food. Imagine what pistachios cost nowadays. I don't know what they cost. I don't remember the last time I bought them. I can't have them in my house because I will binge them, and they're salty too. So like,
oh, they're amazing.
Yeah, way more addictive than a potato chip, I think. Like it's hard to have a couple chips and put the bag away. Pistachios, forget about it. And what about cashews? Like I would steal a truck of cashews.
Oh yeah, cashews are great. Like there's not often times when on this show we hear about food related robberies quite often actually. So and most of them I'm like, why would they steal that, or why would they steal this? It doesn't make any sense. But this is the first one where I'm like, of course you'd steal a truckload of pistachios.
The opportunity pops up, take it.
Absolutely. If I saw a truck full of pistachios, I'd be taking it too. Then nothing would stop me.
No, seriously. The truck of walnuts was the one that happened in November. I wouldn't risk it for walnuts. I enjoy them. If they're there, I'll take a handful.
Sure.
But yeah, a truck full of pistachios is it
might as well be gold.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah, I guess then we kind of covered that as a crime, but I guess it's more of a sign of support. If you have a truck full of pistachios,
I support anyone who steals pistachios. Yeah, absolutely.
If you happen to take that truck to the east coast of Canada, you can email Aaron and I, and we would secretly meet up with you. And we would, I guess, both bring a backpack and just fill it with the pistachios. That would be amazing.
And if the pistachios are just about to expire, I'd happily pay 30% of a discount on those pistachios.
I'm just realizing there's one other story I never even considered in my head tonight that we're about to get into. I'm looking at our notes here. This was a busy week. All these stories come from last week. I guess this one's kind of a legal story, what we just went through there with the stolen pistachios. But I forgot about the legal release for the burger that somebody had to sign in Ontario. I guess this is as good a time as any to get into this, but this is another interesting story. So we would steal a truck of pistachios to get pistachios, but would you sign a legal release waiver to eat a burger?
Would I actually sign a waiver? No.
If someone showed up at your table at a restaurant, they're like, "Here's the delicious burger, but before you eat it, sign this waiver that you will not sue us if something goes wrong."
No, I'd never sign that, and I would not eat the item in question.
Let me read this article. It seems like your opinion or what you would do is very similar to what the subject of this article has done. Here it comes. A visitor from the United States got more than they asked for at a Toronto hotel's restaurant when they ordered a cheeseburger this past Monday night. They claimed they ordered the burger to be cooked medium well and had already started eating it when the server handed them a legal waiver. The server explained that because the kitchen at the Hilton Toronto Airport Hotel and Suites always cooks their burgers well done, they'll need to sign their waiver first. Now they're quoting the patron. I already had my first bite, but I stopped eating and I refused to sign the waiver. I was shocked, to be honest with you, and I had certainly lost my appetite. According to the waiver, the guest would waive and release any rights, actions, or claims against the Hilton Toronto Airport Hotel and Suites for any and all liability and damages, including foodborne illnesses and death arising out of or in connection with the guest's use of its own food or consumption of products that are not provided by the Hilton Toronto Airport. While the hotel chain doesn't typically hand these waivers out, a Hilton spokesperson told CTV News in Toronto that the chain adheres to all of Ontario's food safety laws. Now they're quoting the statement from the hotel. When guests request a cooking temperature for meat that is below the minimum required, our hotel provides a waiver as an additional food safety measure with language consistent with what you might see printed at the bottom of a restaurant's menu, the statement reads. So a few things here. Yeah, like you, I would never sign that waiver. I'm like, I don't want your burger if you're that worried about it. But it said there that the language is consistent with what would be in the bottom of a menu. Have you ever seen any kind of like legal wording like that in a menu?
I've never read the fine print of a menu unless it was like, all sandwiches come with fries.
Yeah, I've never seen, not only did
that's the only closest thing to a legal disclaimer on a menu that I've ever seen.
Yeah, I've never, and sometimes you'll see a legal disclaimer and you'll willfully ignore it, just like I'm not reading this big long thing, but I don't remember even like seeing one and passing over it. But there's a part of me that when I heard this story, I was shocked, like, wow, like what a crazy thing to do. And, I've never ever heard of this before, but at the same time, I can kind of understand it, because if you're serving meat that's not fully cooked up to whatever temperature to kill all the different things, you are exposing yourself to a lawsuit. Like someone could come after you. I've just always thought, like, if you get food poisoning, which we've all had once or twice before, it's kind of hard to tell exactly where you got it. So it would be hard to, like, if I got sick today, like right now, I got terrible food sickness and almost died and lost all this work and stuff as a result. It would be hard to prove whether it was the McDonald's I had at supper or the, breakfast sandwich I had from McDonald's, or no, McDonald's for supper and I had a breakfast sandwich for Tim Hortons. I ate bad today. I'm probably going to get food poisoning. Or was it the almost expired mangoes from the soup from Loblaws that I had? Like, how do you prove that to win a lawsuit?
It's a very challenging thing to prove, food poisoning, but like I've heard of this before where Americans cook their hamburgers differently in terms of how they like them cooked. I've heard oftentimes about how Americans like, their hamburger is similar to their steak. How do you want your hamburger? You want it medium? Do you want it rare? Do you want it well done?
In this story, sorry to interrupt you, but in this story, it was an American that ordered the burger. And I never thought about that. I don't recall being asked, like, how do you want your burger done? Because my mind,
because in America, they treat their burgers similar to how they treat a steak.
Oh, I don't want any pink in a burger.
No, me either. Because, and then we're not used to that, because in Canada, we always do our hamburgers well done. But we still like treat steak the same way, because with steak, the bacteria is all on the surface. So once you expose the surface of the steak to high enough temperatures, it's going to kill the bacteria almost immediately.
Unlike ground beef.
Unlike ground beef, where all of that surface layer bacteria is ground into all of the meat. So the reason in Canada that we cook our burgers well done is because that bacteria is all over the meat. So it needs to be, or, in our country's opinion, that hamburgers need to be cooked well done in order to kill all of the bacteria all
Right
throughout
through.
that ground
Yeah,
beef.
it's kind of an interesting case. I'm surprised it hasn't come up before. The reason this article, a couple different people sent it to me, and I think, and I've seen it being just like on Facebook and stuff as well. I think it's just kind of shocking to see the photo of the waiver on a table next to the burger with a bite out of it. It's just unusual. I haven't heard of this. It's probably going to become a more common thing though, as our country gets more litigious and we become even further Americanized. I can see companies being a bit more worried about it. Loblaws isn't though.
No, but I totally understand why they'd have the waiver, because being a hotel in Toronto, they would have a lot of visitors from America. So this is definitely something that they've been asked probably every day. Hey, can I get a hamburger? Can I get it medium? Can I get it this or that? And they're probably like, we'll do it if you really want, but you have to sign a waiver. But I just wouldn't do it. I'd be like, in Canada, we do all of our hamburgers well done to make sure that we're preparing it safely. So that's the only way we prepare it. So just order something else.
Yeah,
man.
just for the customer experience, you would think it would be, from the restaurant's point of view, it'd be better to say, no, like we only do our burgers well done or whatever. It seems like that would be a better thing to put on someone than like, yeah, we'll do what you want, but you got to sign like a legal waiver. I feel like our restaurant should do everything they can to avoid having to get someone to basically sign like a contract.
Or at least tell them about the waiver while they're ordering the burger, and not just bring the waiver to them when it shows up.
Yeah, and have them go to the news.
Be like, yeah, can I get a hamburger, medium rare or whatever? Be like, yeah, sure. And then 20 minutes later, the burger shows up with the waiver. It's like, what the heck is this? Like,
Yeah.
just say, we'll do it, but you got to sign a waiver. Do you still want it? No, I don't want it. Yeah. Strange.
I would say just even still, don't even have the waivers there. Just don't make the burgers that way.
Just say no. It's okay.
Yeah, it's not how we do it.
Yeah. So anyway, but it's a very American thing to do that, to have your hamburger cooked in different ways like that.
Yeah. I'd be curious to hear from people out there listening. Would you sign a waiver for a burger? The only thing I would sign a waiver for, if I was going in like a spicy food competition or like something crazy like that, I'd be like, yeah, like I'm going to go nuts. But just a regular menu item, I wouldn't do it. But I'd be curious to hear what people out there have to say about this. And I think a lot of people will have an opinion on this. But let's move over to our last story of the night. This doesn't necessarily involve food, but to have it fit this theme, I'm going to call it The Fraudsters Who Double Dipped. Okay, think that works?
Okay, yeah, sure.
All right. Sorry to pull you out of the episode like this, but I want to make sure you're getting every last drop of weird out of Keep Canada Weird. You may not know this, but Aaron and I have a Keep Canada Weird time machine, and every so often, we hop in and travel back to a weird moment in Canadian history. The results of these journeys are shared in short, bite-sized episodes that supplement our weekly Keep Canada Weird discussions. You can hear the Keep Canada Weird Remembers episodes on the Nighttime Podcast's premium feed or on the standalone Keep Canada Weird podcast feed. Our next journey is going to be to Pierrefonds, Quebec, where in 1991, the mayor made the then controversial decision to end the supply of free coffee to City Hall staffers.
It used to be free to all Pierrefonds employees. That is, until City Council found out it was costing $30,000 a year. So the mayor shut off the spout. The union fought back, and the issue is now before Quebec's highest court.
That episode will be out on the Nighttime Podcast's premium feed and the standalone Keep Canada Weird feed shortly. Now let's get back to this episode. This one, again, not necessarily food related, but I really wanted to get into this because this is, we talk a lot about frauds and cons and tricksters preying on our vulnerable and often elderly. But I think this story just shows exactly how bad it is. This involves a man who is defrauded by a fraud assisting fraudster. Here it comes. I'll read this. Or do you want to read it? If you have it in front of you, you can read. I suck at
I
reading.
can bring it up. Yeah.
I'm so bad at reading.
Suck at reading.
It's true. I always
I
have.
gotta be honest. I suck at reading. You just got to give me a second to bring up the article here. Don't whistle at me. Do not whistle at me. I've got it up here. Okay, a Guelph man who police say had already lost over $750,000 in a cryptocurrency fraud has lost another $12,000. The man in his 60s reported the new fraud to police on Friday. He was contacted by someone who claimed they could help him recoup some of the losses from the earlier fraud. Police say the man created an account at an online bank account and downloaded an app which gave the scammer access to his cell phone. Over $12,000 was transferred out of his account across 2 weeks. Police say these types of crimes are difficult for them to investigate, and the chances of getting the victim's money back are very low. They're advising people to be wary of individuals met on social media who attempt to convince you to invest in cryptocurrency. Verify investment companies using the provincial securities regulator or the national registration search tool, and question when someone is reaching out about an investment offer.
Yeah, I think if anybody contacts you online and they even mention like Bitcoin or cryptocurrency, it's a scam. Has there ever been a legitimate offer? I just think in this guy's case, to lose $750,000, to take another chance. Like, this guy can help me. I just got to download this app and send him cryptocurrency, and it's all above the board.
Thank God you can help me, because this has been a real pickle for me. You know, I don't know if you know this, but I've already lost $750,000, and I didn't know what to do about it. And then you come along all of a sudden out of nowhere, and you've got all the answers to all my problems. So yes, here's my bank information. Here's my cell phone. Here's my social insurance number. What else do you need? It's hard to say this, but some people deserve to be scammed. And this dude is one of them.
Well,
he just
fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. That whole thing. After losing $750,000,
like after losing that much,
let's just call it $1 million. He basically lost $1 million, but he is still not like gun shy enough to
didn't
avoid.
learn his lesson.
I'm surprised they only got 12 grand out of him.
Well, I don't know. That seems, maybe they were just like, are we really going to go for another 12 grand?
There's no way he'll fall for it.
Yeah, no, that's why we got to keep it low. We got to keep it under 12, because if we try to go for another 750, I mean, 12 grand was probably already all he had left.
See, that's a good point.
To steal. Like, you know, $750,000 is gone. He's only got 12 left. They bled him dry. That was the last couple of pennies that he had in his bank account.
I bet. In 750 grand, I would like to know more about that scam that they got him with, because it's like, people don't have $750,000 in a bank account. That would have involved probably taking out investments and, you know, cashing out investments and stuff. Like, you wouldn't have that kind, even a rich person wouldn't have that kind of money sitting there ready to be sent off somewhere. They probably involve them going to like a bank and dealing with stuff.
Oh, that's a life altering amount of money.
Hell yeah.
That's life ruining. That's my life savings. That's my retirement fund. That's my kids. That's not, I was going to say kids' college fund. I don't know what college they're going to, but
seriously. Well, it's everything. It's more than, for the average person, even the above average person, that's more than what you'd have retiring. I'm sure of it.
Yeah.
Do you believe this story? Like, it's so far fetched. But
I mean, to have $12,000 more taken from you in an additional scam, I don't know. It's again, you deserve it at that point. I mean, what have you? How do you function in society? How do you go day to day doing anything if you fell for another scam immediately after you were just through a major scam?
Yeah, I think this guy needs to just get off the internet. And
just go, you know, I guess he doesn't have any money to buy a farm, but to go off grid. Yeah, just get into the woods, set up a little garden, build a little log cabin. If you can find some remote land where nobody's going to charge you to set up shop there and chop down a few trees and just get away from it all, because the modern society has eaten you alive.
It seems it. And it's not really like, he's not like a senior where we're like, it's a vulnerable man. It says he's in his 60s.
He's in his 60s.
Yeah, he needs to just
he has some
out.
experience with the internet. He's been around for the entire, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. But I'm not gonna question whether or not it's true. I believe it's true. I just can't imagine someone losing $750,000 and not being hyper vigilant from that point on. Wow.
Yeah, I'm not believing anybody who tells me anything. Why would I?
Yeah. Well,
I don't know.
Sorry to hear about your bad luck buddy in Guelph. I like how the police had to say in the press release statement thing, they don't expect to get the money back. No, they never do in these cases. Is there any
They don't
example?
even try. They're not even going to try to get this back.
Has there ever been, like, I'd like to find any scam where someone got their money back. Seems like it never happens.
No, because the scammers are overseas. They're untouchable. That's how they're able to get away with this all the time, because they're out of the jurisdiction of any law enforcement that you're going to contact.
Here's how we tie it all together, though. But there are, I won't call them scammers, but there certainly is some like bordering on criminal practices happening with the price of food in Canada. I believe there's price fixing. And I believe that, the whole thing with Loblaws, like changing their discount model to step in line with their competitors, does that not sound like almost like admission of price fixing, like discount fixing? Should be illegal.
Yeah, I agree.
I hate to support them too much or recommend this, but you can get a lot of grocery items at Dollarama for so much cheaper than at Loblaws or a grocery store. I don't know why I say I hate to support Dollarama.
I was just going to ask you why, because I thought you were going into a Tim Hortons rant or something like, or some kind of a connection with Tim Hortons.
No,
I hate to support them, but
it's just kind of trashy. Sorry, but
no, I mean there's nothing wrong with the dollar store, is there?
I don't know. It is like this. I get so much stuff there that you can get the exact same thing at the grocery store, except it's 3 times more expensive. So I think like with the price of food, one of the ways that I deal with it is, if possible, I get savings by buying bulk from Costco, or I get savings by buying stuff from the dollar store, if possible, Dollarama. It helps.
Yeah.
One thing about Dollarama, I just had an interesting ad. I actually made a video about this and put it on my TikTok. But I was on Facebook today, and one of the sponsored ads that popped up caught my attention. And it was an Uber Eats ad. But what they were offering is free delivery off of your first order of Uber Eats from Dollarama.
Wow, really?
So they would go to Dollarama and pick up stuff and deliver it to you. It's just weird.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, it's within their wheelhouse,
What would you get from Dollarama that you'd want delivered? I guess like a bag of chips, 2 bags of chips.
The same reason that you would get groceries delivered from a grocery store. Lots of people do that.
Yeah.
It's food, it's items you need, it's your daily
daily
groceries.
I didn't know you could
get
get groceries for Uber Eats. I picture Uber Eats more of a grocery, a restaurant delivery thing.
Yeah, but their main service is delivery. So we can deliver anything you want.
I just wonder why I got that ad. I just wonder if they're targeting.
Why you got it?
I do go to
because
Dollarama a lot.
You troll dollar stores and thrift stores, Value Village. Like you're one of these kind of bottom feeding losers.
Scumbags. I self-identify as one, so.
Yeah, no. I mean, I go to the dollar store and Value Village all the time. I love it there.
Good. Well, with that said, I think we can start wrapping this up. We've been through a lot. I feel like I'm hungry. There's a lot of talk of food.
I'm hungry too, but I ate already. I'm not going to eat again. It's too late.
Do you snack at night? You don't?
No. I try not to. And it's cold outside, so I'm not going to get in the car and go to Wendy's or McDonald's or something and go through the drive-through.
Okay.
It's too far away.
Well, stay inside, stay warm, stay safe, and find creative ways to save money, Aaron. And if that way involves keeping Canada weird,
yeah.
Let's wrap this up.
Let's do it.
Handsome Aaron Airport. Until next time.
Jordan, until next time.
Something that I find is often on sale with those 50% off coupons, that's a good deal, is the prepared fruits, like cut up pineapple and mango and stuff. I'd say other than that, don't waste your time.
Yeah. And Jordan, until next time, I've got an ice cream cake in the freezer right now. And I want you and I to eat it on the 50th anniversary of Keep Canada Weird.
But one of us will be dead. I wonder who.
You'll be dead.
I think so. You say you're not snacking. I'm thinking about what I'm going to eat after I'm done here. That's going to be my downfall.
And you've made a lot of enemies over the years.
That's true too. Damn it.
Yeah, there's a lot of people who want you dead.
I want to thank you for helping Aaron and I fulfill our mission to keep Canada weird, but let us also call out to you for even greater support. If something weird happens in your neck of the woods, we invite you to serve as a Keep Canada Weird correspondent. Or if you have any thoughts, opinions, theories, or feedback on any of the stories we discussed tonight, we want to hear about that too. The best way to contact us is by sending a voice memo at nighttimepodcast.com/contact. We're excited to hear from you. Now, before we part, let me end this episode with some thanks. First, a big thanks to Aaron for sharing an evening with me and with you, the listeners of Nighttime. A big shout out to the internet's favorite cult leader, Unicole, who provides the intro and outro voiceovers for this series. And then lastly, but most importantly, a massive thank you to each and every one of you listening to Nighttime, as without your interest and your support, this show would be as pointless as it would be impossible. Now, on the topic of support, let me thank the newest subscribers of the premium feed. Yvette, Mike, Gail, and Adam, thank you for going premium. And for anyone else out there who'd like to support the show, you can help us out in a variety of ways. First of all, a premium feed subscription costs just a couple dollars a month, and that money funds the creation of the show. But the premium feed also gives you the episodes 2 days early, gives them to you ad-free, and gives you access to a full back catalog of episodes, including the Keep Canada Weird Remember series. If this sounds like something you're interested in, you can go premium right now at patreon.com/nighttimepodcast. And even if you don't want to go premium, you can still support the show by simply sharing this episode on social media and letting all your like-minded friends know what we're doing here. We appreciate your support. Now I'm going to wrap it up, but until next time, take care of each other, hug your loved ones tight, and let me know if you see anything weird.
Keep Canada Weird is written, hosted, and produced by the Nighttime Podcast.